Good evening and welcome to the Hometown News TV. I'm John Young.
And I'm Lori Young. And in this week's Hometown News, we have Harvey McKay, what to look for in traits with future leaders. Tom Keene, the good old days. The farm, he explains some of the reasoning behind why they did what they did on the farm. Dave says he gives advice on how to rebudget when you get that much better paying job. And whether or not to give bill collectors access to your checking account or debit cards. John, Small Town DIY, what is Christmas all about? And he basically goes into great depth explaining the history behind Christmas. And now for this week's upcoming events, we have the credit union in Grey Eagle is holding their holiday open house. So get your picture taken with Santa and get a horse-drawn wagon ride tomorrow night, Friday, December 8th. Stearns Bank in Upsala is holding their annual holiday customer appreciation from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. tomorrow, December 8th also. Saturday, December 9th, Holly Jolly Shopping Day is going to be held from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the VFW in Osakis. They'll have many vendors on hand. Santa Day is going to be held in St. Rosa on Saturday, December 16th, and the Bob Show is going to be playing at All Stars. Saturday, December 16th, the 10th annual Christmas Cookie Carousel, along with breads and candies, is going to be for sale at the Community Covenant Church in Upsala from 8:30 to 11:30 a.m. And now for this week's obituaries. Edward Eddie Katzner, age 67 of Albany, died Friday, December 1st. Services will be held at 11 a.m. Friday, December 8th at Our Savior's Lutheran Church in Albany. Edward R. Eddie Mittendorf, age 79 of Melrose, died Saturday, December 2nd. Services were held today, Thursday, December 7th at Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Freeport. Agnes G. Job, age 83 of Freeport, passed away Sunday, December 3rd. Services will be held at 11 a.m. Friday, December 8th at Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Freeport. Francis A. Fran Schreifels, age 89 of Melrose, passed away Sunday, December 3rd. Services will be held at 11 a.m. Saturday, December 9th at Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Freeport. And we were just notified that Theodore Ted Kane, 91 of Long Prairie, had passed away yesterday, December 6th. The funeral service will be held next Wednesday, December 13th at 2 p.m. at St. Paul's Lutheran Church in Melrose. And we'll be getting his full obituary up on our Facebook page later today. And check out the full obituaries in this week's Hometown News. This week's birth announcements, we have Maxim Wayne Rohde, was born Monday, December 13th, to Terry and Missy Rohde of Albany. Congratulations. This week's Hometown News photos, our front page photo is a blue jay, which was submitted by Emily Gerrits. Minnesota Through the Lens is a picture of some geese that were down on the river by the Melrose City Hall by Amy Reland. Swanville Elementary Positive Behavior for November. What a great bunch of kids. The Holding Fort FFA alumni held a tractor raffle. The grand prize winner was Nathan Reynolds, winning a 1950 John Deere B tractor. Danica Cheney, a past Upsala student, was recognized by Warrior Volleyball for her all-around play and academics. And check out this week's Hometown News for the Swanville City Minutes, different events that are happening in the area, along with some holiday tips.
So while en route today, I was dropping some papers off at the Village View in Grey Eagle, and they were having music resonating from the side room there. It seems that they have got a really cool thing going there with old-time music and a nice crowd coming in there to listen to the old-time music.
Today was actually a special day because Father Dockendorf had come. They had done Mass at 9:30, and then they followed it up with 10 o'clock with doing some old-time music. They had brought Cy Fanenstein from St. Joe, actually, to come and join them today, which is kind of cool. Because I can't remember which old-time band he was a part of, but I know that
he's been around for a long time.
Yeah, because we actually had purchased some of his CDs and different things with some of the old-time music, and that is good.
Yeah, so they had a nice crowd there. You ended up having to park almost on the other block because there were so many vehicles around there for their music today. And then as I continued down to Birch Lake, first off, we were talking last week about the lakes weren't froze over. They were actually open because we had 40 and 50 degree weather. This week, it's gotten much colder. For those of you who are out of the area, we had 7 above last night. So we do have ice forming. Yet, different lakes are still wide open. Big Birch is actually one of the more covered lakes. There's still some small spots. But take a look at this video. This is a shot from the north end of Big Birch Lake. And I'll just be quiet for a second. You can hear the geese on the north end. They're standing on the ice. It's really kind of a cool shot. Here's a little photo of it. You could hear them, and it was such a quiet moment there as I went through. It was just kind of a neat thing to experience. The ice on Big Birch Lake is only a couple of inches thick right at this time, so it's not safe to go out on, unless you're a goose, I suppose. Then you could go out there. And it's going to take a few more really cold days. Some lakes, Pillsbury is still half open. Long Lake up by the hub was still mainly open. So it really varies from lake to lake, and it's just not going to be safe for probably another couple of weeks.
We've had a lot of wind too. So I think as the ice had kind of formed and then the high winds and competing with waves, it just...
Yeah, I was looking at the east side of Big Birch Lake because we've had such a strong northwest wind here. A friend was sharing pictures where one day there was ice, the next day it's wide open, then there was a little ice, and that kind of a thing. Well, that ice on the east side of the lake, if you have children who want to ice skate and you live on the east side of Big Birch Lake, you're not going to be skating because it's like this rough thing going on there. Oh, it didn't look good. So it's one of those winters where you got to wait to get the kids out there. You got to wait to get out there and fish because it's just not quite safe yet to be out on our area lakes.
John, so I've been told that the DNR has changed some fishing regulations when it comes to northern pike.
Yeah, for 2018, they're going to be changing kind of the slot limits, but they've done it a little bit differently. They're dividing the state into 3 zones. The northeast, kind of a north, central, northwest, and in a southern part of the state. And they have 3 different objectives with the regulations. In the northeast, they have big northern. Is pretty much what they have. They don't have a lot of small northern, and they take more time to grow. So they're setting a slot limit up there of only taking 2 northern, and they're protecting a range of northern. So you're not able to take as many. Now we're in the central and the north. You can envision a map here, going north and west. In our zone, they were setting a limit of 10 northern. Most of them are wanting to get those little hammer handles out of the lakes, and they're protecting the different sizes above that. The idea in our area is that they're trying to have getting rid of the little northern, which cause a lot of problems. The bigger northern will actually, by having the bigger northern, it actually makes it so the sunfish and panfish they thrive and do better in a lake. The little northern end up eating a lot of the perch and some of the different things that the walleye feed on. They eat the minnows, and they're just incredible feeding fish. So they want to get rid of the smaller northern or reduce the numbers in our region. Now, with that being said, if your lake has a special slot limit like Big Birch does and some other lakes in the area do, those are still going to override the changes. So some lakes are going to go with the new regulations, some are going to stay with their slot limits as they go today. Then finally, in the southern part of the state, they're actually trying to promote and get more northern, the smaller northern down there. So they have a limit that is that you can only take the bigger northern from the southern part of the state. There aren't that many northern down there, so they want those little ones to exist. And you can take a limited number of larger ones. So you can check that all out. The press release from the DNR on the new slot limits and such is something that, as fishermen, we need to know because ignorance isn't you can't plead, I just didn't know, because they'll still give you that nice little ticket if you don't know.
Yeah, and they can actually fine you and take all sorts of equipment from you, and that's just really confusing. So you really need to know what your lake,
where those lines are and such on the map. Are you are you in the northeast or are you in the north central? It can be a little tough there. So really have to spend a little time before you head out to your favorite lake. And I would
recommend going to the local resorts or the
some of the bait shops and such. They'll know what's available in their area. But even some of the bait shop owners may be a little leery, because if they give bad information, or if the information is understood wrong, then the fishermen are upset at the bait shop owner. So the bait shop sometimes is just like, here's the book, you figure it out yourself, because they don't want to be the ones that get in trouble or what have you.
You can't do the Siri, what's the fishing regulations on Big Birch Lake?
No, but Alexis might be able to do it.
That might work.
Another change for this winter now is is for the last number of years when we've been out ice fishing, and if we've had shelters, we haven't had to have licenses. We grew up having to have licenses for any type of shelter, if it was a collapsible or if it was a wooden structure. Now the DNR has changed it. For this winter, you're going to need to have a license if you have a wheeled fish house. So if you have one of these little sled with the flip over, you won't need to have a license. If it has wheels, you need to have a license. The license is, I believe it's about $15 for the season, and you have to get that, of course, before you take that out on the ice. And it doesn't matter if you're out there overnight or not, you have to have a license if it has wheels. You can get 3-year for $42, I believe, on that. If you're renting them out, which most of us aren't renting them out, there's a different fee for that, for the wheeled houses and such. But that's just a change that they have made. And really the idea, I think, behind this is it's just trying to raise additional funds to help cover the different things that the DNR does. I mean, it's one of those, they used to do it and they kind of went away, so it was a form of an income that was lost, which now they're going to be trying to reclaim some of that income.
So now the fish houses that we kind of refer to them as permanent ones because you would bring them out at the beginning of this fishing season. You'd let them sit until come February when they have to come off the lake. Do those need to have licenses?
That's a great question because technically they don't have a wheel. They don't have wheels. So that's going to be something that's going to have to go through interpretation because the old plywood on skis doesn't have wheels, but yet it's kind of a permanent. It's out there for the whole winter. So that'll be something that I don't have an answer for. You'd have to do some more research on that or talk to your friendly neighborhood DNR person who would be able to give you, or the game warden who would be able to give you an answer of what they're going to consider a permanent structure, wheeled structure that needs a license, or which ones are the portable, less permanent that won't.
So John, with your article this week, it's like 3 weeks from Christmas, and I know the gift thing always seems to be kind of a stressful topic for a lot of families, and I know it is getting very stressful for us because we've got kids ranging from 20 all the way down to age 7, and knowing what to get them is just, it's gotten to be so difficult. Years ago, it used to be, I want this, this, and this, and it's like, okay, we can wait until Christmas, but now with today's society, it's like, whenever someone wants something, you go and get it. You don't sit and wait until Christmas. And
I think the whole gift thing is really kind of interesting because it wasn't like this. It wasn't at one particular time. The gifts weren't the most important part of Christmas. I mean, if we go back far enough, the Christmas was all about getting really, really schnocked and celebrating the small or shortest day of the year, and that you were basically celebrating the sun god who was going to be now allowing the days to get longer. I mean, that's going way, way back. But when you get into the Christmas gift idea, the early things, if you think of the settlers who were out in this area and they didn't have much, so you would have, dad or grandpa would whittle something, a whistle or a little bird or what have you. It was more that small gesture thing, and that really continued on through until you got into the 30s and coming out of World War II, where it became the media and the advertising and the marketing and such really started to push this, that Christmas could be this big thing with all these presents under the tree and everyone needed in this, and the I gotta have started to really catch in, especially in the US. I mean, this is where it really started with the moving it to more of the commercialized version of Christmas. Not that other countries didn't have a level of that, but it started here. Is that a good direction that we've gone? As we get in this time of the year and that you have the stress and the kids are, everything they want is $500 or more because it's just, that's where they are. And it's like, it would be nice to have something that's just a simpler situation. But then as you start going back into looking at it, at different times in history, Christmas meant a different thing. It was a different celebration here, as it was here. And I really find what's fascinating is when the Puritans first came over in the 1600s, that they basically banned the celebration of Christmas. It just didn't exist. Even though prior to that, they started to change it to the celebration of the birth of Christ, as they recognized time of his birth or the celebration of that. Some of the religious groups basically said, no, this is too much of the festival, and it's still too much of a drunken festival. We don't want to have anything to do with that, so let's not go there. It's just it's a fascinating study of how it's evolved, and it's kind of like even our politics today. If a person could get the money out of it and get the commercialism out of it, it could be a really beautiful time of family and spending time together like that, and not have the commercial saying you've got to have this toy or you've got to have this truck or this car under your tree, and then you'll make life happy. Yeah, it's just how things have evolved over the years, and sometimes it's not the greatest.
No, and it's like, it's like there's no end. It's like one year you can budget a certain budget for, especially with us with 6 kids, because you tried to treat everyone equal. But what your budget was last year is what you kind of plan on, but it's like it continues to grow. And like I said, the shopping gets to be harder because we have teenage kids that they have their money, they have their PayPal accounts and different things. And it's one of those things that if there's something that they want, next thing we know, we've got a UPS dropping the package off.
Yeah.
And I know our 14-year-old was all excited with Black Friday, and he made a comment about wanting an Xbox One S. And it's like, oh, well, maybe we could get that for the family. Well, we actually went Black Friday shopping a little bit, and we come home and he's all excited because he had ordered himself an Xbox One S. And so it's like, no matter how you try to plan or want to surprise your kids, it's like it just doesn't happen. It's just the whole surprise of that anticipation just doesn't happen anymore because people want it and they want it now. And
yeah, and again, the gift part of it really wasn't part of this day. It just, there were small gifts being shared and such, but it was the gift actually came out of the St. Nicholas Day, which was December, early December, and that's where the gift, and it was small things.
Peanuts.
It was peanuts and oranges or whatever, the kind of things that kids get when they go see Santa at the credit union or in St. Rose or in Uppsala. The little bag of treats. That's what it used to be, and it's just become this monstrous commercialism. Makes me want to go watch Charlie Brown's Christmas a couple more times.
Yes. I have to chuckle though, because with the whole drunken festivities that used to go on, is that where the eggnog started from?
Well, it could be anywhere. I guess I didn't run into the eggnog too terribly much. I'm sure it was one of the different Northern European traditions to have that, because that's where a lot of the different traditions came out of the Northern European area. And it's interesting because the whole Christmas thing is a Northern Hemisphere event that has spread, because it was all based around the shortest day of the year, December 25th. You take a look at that in the Southern Hemisphere, December 25th isn't the shortest day of the year. It's opposite. It's the longest day of the year down there. So it's just interesting how the influence of Northern Europe has basically spread all over the world. So you have people who are our friends in New Zealand who are going to be celebrating Christmas with a Christmas tree, and they'll have pictures of Santa and sleigh and reindeer and all these different things, and they're going to be in their swimming suit and headed to the beach because it's going to be 100 degrees out that day.
Well, that concludes our show. Don't forget to check out the advertisers in the Hometown News. Do business with them and thank them for bringing you the Hometown News. I'm Lori with the Hometown News TV.
And I'm John from the Hometown News TV. Thanks for watching.
Good night.
Good night.